100 years ago, proms became a beloved high school tradition. But which decade has the most influence on the dresses we wear today? We are about to find out. Hello, Internet. Welcome to Style Theory, the show that always delivers on its promises.
Prom is a rite of passage for many people, something that they've looked forward to since the first time they watched Mean Girls or Pretty in Pink. The dancing, the dates, the dress. Oh, the dress. No shade to the he, she, or they that you are planning to go to the dance with, but we all know that the dress is really what you are most excited about. So, what dress do you pick to get that perfect prom photo for your memories? To know that, we need to take a little journey back through time, because prom as we know it today started 100 years ago. Oh yeah, to celebrate 100 years of glitter, sequins, and glorious gowns, we are taking a promenade through the past 100 years of prom dresses to figure out which decade really had the best look and which ones hold the most influence over the dresses we see today. Why are we doing this, you may ask?
Because I never went to prom, and we're about to fix that.
By the end of this episode, I won't just have one prom photo. I will have 100 years worth of prom photos to fill up my theorist scrapbook. Let's get clicking.
Are you coming?
Way back in ye very olden days, circa the 1800s, the promenade was the place for co-eds to mix and mingle, albeit under much stricter standards of mingling than we typically see today. Think proper manners and high society skills. And of course, chaperones to keep everything above board.
Hey! Make room for Jesus.
These university dances, yes, university, not high school, were the evolution of the debutante ball of the 18th century. Those balls were very formal, full gowns, gloves, and tuxedos. It was the event where women of a marrying age were presented to polite society as ready to court. Choices were made. Promenades, however, were a little looser than that, with less formal attire and less specific intentions. But it still served as a way for those of polite society to find their potential partners, at least until we hit the 1920s. The golden age of jazz didn't just usher in a new culture of fashion and speakeasies, it brought the promenade to high schools, and thus the beginnings of our modern-day idea of prom was born.
This is our 1920s dress, and I'm extremely excited because I've never worn anything from the 1920s, and I've never worn a prom dress. Now this one is a recreation because it's hard to find a vintage prom dress from the 1920s in my size. Ooh. Ha! It's a lovely rusty brown color, and I'm super excited. Ooh, she's pretty. Ooh, oh my gosh, she's pretty. Look at her. I'm so excited to wear this.
While most people think of the 1920s fashion scene as flappers, flappers, and more flappers, not everyone was dancing the cell block tango. The younger generations were more conservative, though inspired by the same fashion trends. Drop-waist dresses with unique trims and lace embellishments were in high demand, typically in bright colors, but for formal events, blacks and browns were also pretty common. Shoes ranged from conservative Mary Janes and loafers to the scandalous kitten heel, if you were feeling fancy. Accessories were also popular, with hats and gloves being considered suitable for everyday and formal occasions. The most popular at the time being the grandmother of the modern-day bucket hat, the cloche, meaning bell for its bell-like shape. Cap sleeves and sleeveless dresses were common with both rounded and V-shaped necklines, while women's hair was typically short and styled in a bob or finger waves, as you can see.
Now, teens in this era would probably be wearing one of these cloche hats. However, mine doesn't want to fit. However, the rest of the dress, pretty cute. This is a velvet dress, has a lot of beading. It's a little big for me up here. We're seeing a bit of a different kind of gaping than I think we're supposed to. And it has a dropped waist, which instead of sitting at your natural waist, it sits at like your hips, creating an illusion of a longer torso, which is what they wanted back in this razzle-dazzle area. And I appreciate that our dress shows off a little leg. It comes to about mid-calf, which is, you know, very scandalous for the 1920s. We won't see hemlines this short for a couple decades after this.
From there, the prom hype exploded, And by the 1930s and 40s, it solidified itself as a high school tradition.
So here's some hard truth. eBay kind of failed me on the 30s and 40s. I couldn't find anything that was in my actual size or that was a prom dress. But don't worry, we have some wild dresses coming up from other decades, and one, I can't believe that this was something someone actually wore to prom.
But first, we need to take our first prom photo. Where the 1920s were a little more fluid with their fashion choices, the 30s and 40s were the height of wartime fashion. Most families couldn't afford fancy fabrics, meaning cotton and repurposed fabrics were often seen for formal attire. This is also where we start to see the corsage make their appearance. Wearing flowers given to you by your date is a tradition that goes all the way back to ancient Greece, when it was used as a form of perfume to hide a person's BO. Back then, the flowers were pinned to the center of the bodice, but when they were reimagined for prom season, they migrated to the wrist. For hair, curls were very popular, especially the victory curl, styled to mimic the movements of fighter planes. The popular dress silhouette shifted from dropped waists to using a bias cut, which involved cutting the fabric at a 45-degree angle instead of straight. This created a more figure-hugging look that still remains popular today. Extravagant sleeves and bows helped bring a sense of joy and whimsy to an otherwise tense time, and it's a trend we'll see pop up again in a few decades. But did any of these decades leave their mark enough that we still see it today? We'll have to wait and see once we get to them all. Just as fashion has evolved thanks to new advances in technology, so has the internet. Nowadays, you need 15 different subscriptions just to watch your favorite shows. Or you did until now. NordVPN isn't just browser security, it's a game changer, and our partner for today's episode. If you're scrolling online without a VPN in this, the year of our theory 2025, then listen up, because you are putting your personal information at risk. Scammers and data collecting agencies are finding new ways every day to get their hands on your data. But with Nord, you can fight back. Thanks to their next generation encryption, you never have to worry that someone on the dark web is spying on you. And neither is Nord. You see, NordVPN has a no-logs policy, meaning that while you get all the safety benefits, they don't store any of your information. It's a win-win. And you're going to keep on winning, because when it comes to watching your favorite shows, you'll never be denied access because of where you live ever again. Yeah, if you didn't know, services like Netflix have different show and movie options depending on what country you're watching from. Hoping to catch up on the Hunger Games before the new movie comes out next year? Only available on Netflix Canada. Did Gaga's epic Coachella performance give you a craving to relive her A Star Is Born era? Well, that well is pretty shallow because it's only available on Dutch Netflix. But I told you that NordVPN was a game changer, and I meant it. With NordVPN, you can switch your location faster than you can flip to a new streaming service, and for less money. For you loyal style theorists, Nord is offering a huge discount on their 2-year plan plus 4 extra months completely free. Yeah, 4 months for free. All you need to do is go to nordvpn.com/styletheory or click the link in the description to get started risk-free with their 30-day money-back guarantee. That's nordvpn.com/styletheory to start taking control of your internet today. For now, we need to move on to the next era on our 100 Years of Prom Dresses tour. And the next dress is so high school.
Get ready to enter in to the 50s with an actual vintage prom dress from the 1950s. Okay, this is like that taffeta kind of feel. That's what this is. Oh my gosh. It's so pretty. Look at her. This is authentic from the 1950s, and I am so excited. Okay, let's go to the sock hop.
When the 1950s rolled around, proms were bigger than ever, and so were the dresses. In the post-World War II world, extravagance was the name of the game. Fashion no longer had to just be functional. It could be fun again. Ruffles, tulle, and bows were the bee's knees, and silhouettes were inspired by Dior's new look. Waists were snatched, and skirts were huge.
Welcome to the 50s. Listen, I don't know what proportions the women of the 50s had, but this fits everywhere, but this waist is so tiny. How did you breathe? This was made in the 1950s to go to a prom. Oh my gosh, look at these bows. They're so cute. Admittedly, this is very much like the color of my skin, so I am giving Snow White right now. So in the 50s, off-shoulder was very popular, and we have this like faux off-shoulder with a little ruffle up here, which is really pretty. This was the time where like youth dress didn't really exist. Like you didn't have a juniors and a teen section the same way that we do today. I'm pretty sure someone handmade this dress for their prom. The fabric choice feels very much of that era, and it feels very much like something my grandma would make. And no shade to my grandma, she made the one dress that I've ever worn to a school dance, which was homecoming. You'll see that later in the 2000s. It's cute, it feels like something my grandma would have worn. Now the makeup of this time was very, very simple. We have very simple eyeshadows, very simple lips. It wasn't too bold, it wasn't too in your face. It was very traditional at the time.
You also saw a change in mainstream modesty standards. T-length dresses showing off a little ankle became commonplace, and even a shoulder or two could get a little sunlight. Most hairstyles were curled, either in tight ringlets like the poodle or loose waves like the pinup.
The hair of this era was often short, often very curled, and very much not what my hair is today, but ponytails rose in popularity at this time with youth culture. They loved to decorate it with things like ribbons, bows, flowers, and so I tried to channel that for our prom look for this decade. I think I did okay. We feel inspired by the 50s. What do you think? Am I getting invited to prom in this? I don't know. I think I'm being cast in the next off-brand Disney movie though, but I think that means it's time to take our prom photo and head off to the 60s.
The 1960s saw dresses get slimmer, favoring the newly popularized sheath dress over the volume of the 50s. You can thank stars like Audrey Hepburn for making that popular. This silhouette defined the waist and slimmed the hips, but that wasn't the only option available. For all you fans of Bridgerton, get ready because this one is for you. By the late 60s, the empire waist was also a go-to option, and both of these silhouettes are ones that we still see being popular today. Hair was either high, like the beehive or the bouffant, or short, like the pixie and the bob. Now, unfortunately, I could not get my hands on a vintage 60s dress, so we'll have to do a little Photoshop magic to fill in our scrapbook for this decade. But oh boy, you are not prepared for the dress I have for our next decade, the 70s. This decade saw a huge shift in prom fashion. Gone were the Grease and Breakfast at Tiffany's dresses. Instead, it was time to get down on the farm. Formal wear became a lot more casual, bringing in ruffles and patterns that would look right at home on Little House on the Prairie. While off-shoulder and sleeveless dresses were still popular, the biggest trend was long sleeves. Either on the dress or with a matching jacket, this more laid-back look took center stage. However, most of the options I found on eBay were not my size, and so I ended up with this.
All right, our next dress is the 70s, and this one, if you can't tell, is straight from eBay. This is a vintage party dress from the 1970s that, based on the listing, told me it was used at a prom. So let's take a look. Ooh. Oh no, oh no. All right, well, this is the matching over jacket. Very Bridgerton, and the actual dress, oh, okay. The actual dress is this. It has a lovely lace overlay, this lovely blush pink color, and some straps, spaghetti straps, the ever prevalent thing in so many decades. Why? Maybe it will look better once I put it on? It's that bad. This jacket is pure lace, and it's very itchy. I don't think it's super flattering. We do see the beginnings of what will be our 80s shoulder pads up here. They're little baby shoulders, a little poof, smaller version of the 1930s that we then see a resurgence of next decade. However, right now I feel very Jackie O on the Prairie. There are some good things about it. The actual lace is really nice. The lace pattern on the dress itself is really nice. The ruffles are ruffling. You can see that the 70s really took maximalism as a pattern sense rather than the rest of it. The actual silhouette of this dress is very simple. It's really the rest that's a lot. I feel very much like I could be a 70s wallpaper in in this dress. Now, while long sleeves were insanely popular in this decade, there was another type of silhouette that was equally popular, and that is our reveal. We're having a Drag Race reveal moment, everybody. Whoa! Look at those shoulders! This cut is very similar to stuff we'll see in the 90s, 2000s, 2010s, even 2025. This is like the grandmother of the corset top that is really popular today. But when it came to hair, you had some leftover curls and volume of the 60s, but you really saw two other styles rise to popularity. Feathering, which came to popularity thanks to people like Farrah Fawcett on Charlie's Angels, where the hair really whipped back and had a very feather-like, voluminous quality to it. As you can see today, straight, extremely long hair, thanks to the icon that is Cher. Thank you, Cher, for making my hair easy to do this decade. Speaking of easy hair, next decade is going to be insanely easy for me to do. But first, we need to take our prom photo.
But if you think the 70s had wild hair, wait until you see our next decade, the 80s. Much like the styles of the 40s and 50s, the prom trends of the 1980s like to keep it big, bold, and beautiful. And they took it all to the extreme.
Now we come to one that I am so excited for. This is the 80s. I might have straight hair today, but my hair was made for the 80s. And the biggest thing about 80s is volume. And this dress is volume. Oh my God, you can already see it. Look at her. The polka dots. This is a party. I'm so excited to put this on. I can't even wait.
Inspired by rising stars like Madonna, Cyndi Lauper, and the Brat Pack, this decade changed the idea of what a prom look could be.
We are in the 80s, baby! I did wash my hair specifically for this dress because this is all natural, baby. 80s loves big hair, and my natural hair can do that. And it matches the dress so perfectly. I have tears, I have ruffles. Look at the shoulders. They come out, they're pointy shoulders with little ruffles. They're everywhere. This is a button that does nothing. I added a little Madonna-esque 80s bow up here. Look at this. Look at this. Who is she? She's an 80s queen. This might be my favorite look of the whole episode. I feel like Cyndi Lauper. It's my episode. I can cry if I want to. Now, in this time period, this was everything. You wanted to mix your patterns. You wanted to mix your fabrics. The 80s was about throwing everything on your body, and that is what we're doing. It was also about being big hair, big shoulders, big skirts, everything big, everything bold, and everything to draw attention. We see elements of this pop up everywhere. One, we have a carryover of the long sleeves from the 70s, which is pretty iconic. Two, I feel like we're gonna see these fabrics again. This tiered look is gonna come back. I can tell you that for certain. I feel like we'll see these kind of embellishments, these extras, these patterns. This is a vaguely floral, but also kind of like edgy, grungy kind of pattern. These dots, I can feel them. They're a little like raised from the rest of the fabric. These kind of elements that pop off of the dress, I feel like we're gonna see those come back in future decades.
This is gonna make one epic prom photo. That look is so based. I'm starting to see where our modern day prom looks get their glitz from, but we still have a few decades to go.
And now it's time to electric slide into the 90s and enter the 90s. This is very grunge, but I really like it. It's a little small for me. I think I'm not quite that 90s physique, but I still really like it. This is definitely my color. I love the stone detailing up here. I love the velvet. I love the flowiness down here. It's something that you would have seen in Buffy. I feel like Faith from Buffy would wear this to prom. And if I can be even half as cool as Faith, then I've won. This dress is very much an homage to the 80s, like the late 80s with those Carrie slip dresses, and the mid to late 60s where we saw the umpire waist come back. So we're really seeing a blending of decades. We're seeing very early stage prom silhouette with very late stage prom fabrics and accoutrement, which makes it a pretty good blend of the past and the present.
This is also the age of diversification. Rather than one or two main trends, the 90s saw the early stages of the micro trend. Shawls, beads, cowl necks, they all had their moment. But when you think of the 90s, the dress I found is probably the pinnacle of the decade.
The makeup of this era was also a mix between like very intense and very minimalistic. Think no eyeliner, but a lot of mascara, some eyeshadow, and a bold lip was pretty popular. Think Drew Barrymore, Jessica Alba did it quite a few times. I love this kind of makeup. I don't tend to do it because I'm a very much an eyeliner girly. This era was a lot of updos, a lot of messy buns, a lot of exaggerated hair. Think like barrettes, crimping, think odd curls, and a lot of gel to slick it back. We're in that era, and I feel like it could transition into the early 2000s pretty easily. We're partying like it's 1999. I'm wondering if the computers are gonna stop working because it turns to 2000, and apparently that was too hard to do.
This was the era of over-the-top promposals, too much fake tan, and Taylor Swift taking a fan to prom? That actually happened once upon a prom. Yeah, it was a wild time to be a teenager. As someone who would have gone to prom in the 2000s, I feel like I'm the right person to say this. The 2000s were not a pretty decade for prom looks. The makeup was bold, with way too much eyeliner and a big I'm in my blue eyeshadow kind of vibe. And when it came to the dresses, the prints and colors were even bolder. It's safe to say that the looks of this era were an accidental homage to those 80s trends we saw earlier. While there were a wide variety of popular necklines from halter to strapless to off-shoulder, the one thing your dress needed to have was bling.
Our final dress before we head to the mall is our 2000s dress. And I'm really excited because I don't know if I'm about to be inspired or traumatized. Oh, it also has some lovely paper. ASMR moment. Ooh. Ooh, my gosh. Look at the beading and the sequins. Look at that craftsmanship. She's heavy. On these spaghetti straps, they are doing the work here. The amount of beading. Ooh, it has pads. Ooh, you don't have to wear a bra with this. This is so pretty and it's so perfect for the last couple decades. Let's find out why.
I went to one dance in my entire school career. Homecoming, sophomore year, we don't talk about it. And this dress is as close to that one as I could find. Look at this baby! We all go through awkward phases. It's okay. It gets better. It gets gothier.
Let's have it for a 2000. Look at this dress! Oh my gosh! I feel really pretty. I am blown away. When I saw this on the listing, I did not think it was gonna look this pretty. Like, look at the beading. Oh my gosh. Ooh, the butt is dazzling. The butt is being dazzled. All of the bling everywhere. I did just lose a bead. You have the spaghetti straps, which just ever since the 90s never went away. This blue, this like navy to like lighter blue is so iconic and synonymous with prom dresses lately. And I mean, why not? It's Style Theory's color. And I know that this is the 2000s and the 2010s, but it's giving body yada 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 yada. However, I don't feel like this is a dress where shorty can get low. You know, we're not gonna get low on the floor here. I feel like this really pays homage to the 60s where we saw that slim silhouette and a bit of the late 80s where we saw the slip dresses come in. And so we're seeing the 80s really make its mark on prom dresses. So thank you 80s for the love of bedazzling and for the love of a slip. Now in the 2000s we had a lot of half updos, down hair. Hair was doing everything. I did a little bit of a half up, half down, and hopefully, you know, it feels a little of the time. This is much longer hair than I had in 2000.
Moving on to the 2010s, the overall look was surprisingly similar, albeit with better makeup thanks to the rise of beauty tutorials.
Tell me in the comments what your ideal prom court of YouTube would be. Like, who's prom queen, who's prom king, who's the other people in the court? I think it would be hilarious to find out.
Blue was still a primary color for formal wear, and the love of all things shiny and bedazzled did not go away. Instead, it was the silhouettes that morphed, with prom-goers trading in the long formal gowns for two-piece sets, corset tops, and high-low skirts. So the, let's call it very extra stylings of the 2000s never quite went away. So this dress is going to play double duty for our scrapbook.
Say cheese for prom!
Which brings us full circle to where we started this episode, at the mall.
So what does a 2025 prom dress look like? Let's explore.
To finish out our 100 years of prom dresses, I want to find the ultimate prom dress, the one that best represented all of the trends that are popular today. Lucky for us, there were plenty of options available, ones that called back to prom's 100 years of history. I grabbed 4 options to try on, all ones I thought could be the 2025 dress. Let's start with dress number 1.
It is very Wednesday Addams. It has the ruffles like we saw in previous decades, the lace appliques that we saw in so many previous decades. What makes it feel so 2025 is this corset top. That seems to be the big thing. And then huge bows, huge bows. I can really see the influence of the 80s, the 2000s, a bit of the 50s, I think, and probably the 60s as well. It would also go great with my comet boots today. A look.
But not the look. On to dress number 2.
This is definitely the bodycon. This is that like va. And whoa, she has that high slit that's so 2010. We have a spaghetti strap situation going on up here. Very collarbone forward. This is the epitome of my high school era. And it's still here. That's wild to me. It's pretty though. I wouldn't say this is me, but it's definitely the epitome of the prevalent prom themes. So much sequins, so much bedazzling glitter, bling everywhere. The shoulder showage that we've seen for most decades, I'm gonna pass on this, but it shows that the 2000s and the 2010s haven't died away.
And neither did the love affair between prom and blue dresses. Yeah, this wasn't the only blue dress we tried on today. Bring on dress number 3.
We have the mini dress. I feel very much like this is a baby of the 70s, 80s, and 2000s. It's not bad. It's cute. I don't feel promy in it though. I like the square neckline. I think that that's very flattering. I like the glitter. Look at how she shines. She's a shiny girl. I like having a long sleeve option, but we can see the influence from all those previous decades on this dress. But this dress does not want to stay on me, so this is gonna be a pass. I'm really excited about the next one though. We're about to try on that dress. See you in a sec. Don't tell anyone these fell off. I'm sorry, Macy's. I'm sorry.
Dress 4 was my last hope for a dress that summarized 2025 and the past 100 years of prom.
This might be my favorite. Yes, we're doing florals for spring. It's groundbreaking, but it's so pretty. It has the corset top that seems to be the epitome of 2025 prom dresses. It has the ruffly, wide tulle waist. I also feel like these 3D appliques of the flowers coming out of the skirt are the next level of the ruffles, bows, and accoutrement that we saw throughout the decades. This feels so 2025 to me. I feel like this might be our dress. Would you go to prom in this dress? Because I think I will be. Why not wear white? It was a really big color back in like the 50s and the 60s. It's very classic, brings in that old time feel with the new age types of accoutrement, the corset, everything about this feels like it epitomizes our decades. You have the glitz, the glam, you have the regalness of our early decades, all in one 2025 dress. Theorists, I think we found it. So let's take our prom photo.
And we can finally add our final photo to our 100 years of prom dresses scrapbook. Looking back at this journey, it's clear that when it comes to influential decades, few have left their mark as much as the 1950s, 60s, and 80s. The cuts and silhouettes of the 50s and 60s still show up in our modern day prom dresses, with a little added flair of the 80s. Listen, the 80s walked so that the colors, glitter, and experimental takes on design we've seen since the 2010s could run. So tell me, which of these looks would you crown prom queen? Cast your vote in the comments below, and remember, while we all want to take that perfect prom photo in the perfect prom dress, in the end, it's the memories you make that really matter. But hey, that's just a theory. A style theory. Keep looking sharp. Coming up next on Style Theory, we are testing activewear from 3 different brands, Amazon, Halara, and Lululemon, which just happens to sort into 3 easy price tiers: the steal, the affordable, and the expensive.